Well, everybody here is still optimistic about the economy. You don't hear any talk of recession, and none of the people I've talked to suggested at all that they're considering layoffs. They do find it harder to get employees, particularly the skilled ones that they're looking for, but they're also not saying that they're raising salaries significantly anymore. So things have sort of evened out. Orders are a little slower, but they're still coming in. So the economy is doing pretty well. The people here who are involved in real estate are obviously talking to me all the time about what's the Fed going to do? What's the Fed going to do? Because it's been hurt. The high mortgage rates have been hurting their businesses, but they say they still are finding ways around it. They're still going ahead with projects, just not as many. So all in all, there's a general feeling of at least subdued optimism here. When you talk about Jay Powell, a lot of people read him dovishly, and they've priced in basically a September cut. Then we heard from Chris Waller, who's sort of seen as the intellectual conscience of the Fed, saying close to the same thing, but a little more uncertain about what numbers we're going to get. So I think we can pretty much rule out, given both of their stances, the idea of a July move, but September definitely on the table.
Hey, Mike, speaking of Jerome Powell, the cover of Bloomberg Business Week, the new issue, Donald Trump, the interview posted last night after the markets closed. We did hear, thanks to our Bloomberg Business Week team, that the former president, if he did win in November, he'd allow Jerome Powell to serve out his term as chair of the Federal Reserve. It runs through May of 2026. Is that on the radar of the folks you're out there with in Idaho? Are they talking about it? And what are your thoughts on that?
They're not talking about that because I think everybody expects Powell to stay. We went through this in the first Trump term where he talked about firing Powell, and the news stories pretty much came out and said he can't do that. It would be a huge fight and a big problem. So I think everybody's sort of forgotten about that, and they're not worried about it. The interesting question would be Powell's term on the Federal Reserve Board itself runs to 2028. So theoretically, he could not be reappointed chairman by Trump, but he could stick around and Trump wouldn't be able to fill his seat. So I don't think Powell will do that, but it would be funny. I think that Powell is going to try to ignore the noise as much as possible so that he can focus on what needs to be done for the economy. He can't get away from it because everybody's going to be asking him about it. But the way he parried the questions with David Rubenstein on Monday, he sounds like a politician. I don't have anything for you on that.